Hey, welcome to JOA. If you're new to my channel, click that subscribe, y'all. I was not going to do a live or do a video today, but I decided I wanted to come on to talk to y'all because it's just so much stuff going on with Wendy Williams and with the reports and with the Wells Fargo Bank and with her trying to figure out what's going to happen to her show. I do have a live I do have a link if you guys want to come on later on in the show that I want to talk about it. But y'all, so if you're new, please subscribe, click the bell. Please give me a thumbs up on this video. Share the video with your friends. Also, super chats are appreciated. It helps me with my channel. It helps everything with my channel. And you know, it helps me with the bills, help me get my new lights and my new camera that I'm trying to get for the past, however, many years I've been trying to get a damn camera. Instagram, JOA_media. Let's see. Super chats are appreciated. I'm gonna put that right here as well. All right, so we already heard reports about Wendy Williams possibly losing her show. All right, Sherri Shepherd is the permanent guest host of the show, right? You guys all heard about that already. And so sources are saying the reason why they put permanent guest host is because they're trying to transition a new host for Wendy. Now, I don't know if y'all remember this. I don't know if y'all remember a year or so back that rumors that Wendy was about to lose her show. Like there were rumors because she was just like taking too many days off. And I even said that, you know, if they find a new host, now this was last year. I even mentioned if they find a new host, they're going to transition it to where backlash won't ensue, right? And so with the Fox group and with Denmark Mercury, that's what they're doing, okay? I told y'all this, if y'all been watching me for about a year or a year or two or some change, y'all do recall when I mentioned that if Wendy gets replaced, the PR move is, because y'all know I'm good with the PR stuff. I have a college degree in marketing. I understand what goes on in the media with this PR things. The PR move is they're going to slowly take Wendy Williams from the rug of her show and they're going to put in somebody new, okay? The report's already out. But they're going to make sure they put out a statement anywhere that her fans, Wendy Williams fans, will not get pissed off or they won't get backlash. So what the marketing head decided to do is to say, all right, we're going to have a permanent guest host to replace Wendy Williams on her show, right? And so with Sherri Shepherd having high ratings on her show, with reports coming out saying that this show is all about Black culture, she has a huge African-American base, you know, straight or LGBTQIA African-American base, we're going to replace her with a African-American host. And y'all do remember me saying on camera, Morton Ira, who is the head of Denmark Mercury, Wendy Bosses, I was like, if y'all smart, y'all listen to the fans, and y'all have Sherri Shepherd replace Wendy because a lot of people were requesting Sherri Shepherd. However, y'all know at the end of the day, we talk about this on this channel, right? We talk about this. At the end of the day, they were going to try to make Leah Remini the host of the show, and reports came out that said that Leah Remini is pissed off that she didn't get the chance to do the show. Because y'all do recall when they added a host on, you know, that on before Wendy got all of this hiatusness going on, they tried with Jerry O'Connell, right? They tried with instead of the BLK, they tried it with the lighter skinned man, right? And so they tried Jerry O'Connell, and the networks were not trying to have him. The network, it wasn't selling in the networks. You know, they tried to pitch it. It wasn't working out. He was just too much, too extra. He was really trying to act like he a BLK woman on TV and trying to mimic Wendy, but it just did not work out, right? And so that's how Nick Cannon got his show. And so Denmark Mercury listened to the fans and I'm sure listened to the bloggers, and they elected Sherri Shepherd on the show. So instead of them saying Sherri Shepherd is the permanent host of the show, they said she's going to be the permanent guest host. And they're going to monitor Wendy from now all the way up to next season, September 15th, to decide whether or not she's ready to come back, right? A lot of people are still mad. So you can't please everyone in this industry. I mean, there's going to be people who aren't for you, who's going to be for you. There's people saying Sherri Shepherd should not be replacing Wendy. She should at least have her own show. She should not be aligned with the Wendy Williams brand, because the way it works is when you get a talk show, you know, you're often put in markets that are high up in a market chain, like LA, Chicago, Texas, Atlanta possibly, and they test you for 6 weeks, right? That's what they did with Jerry O'Connell. Okay, he had his own separate show with the same production company of Denmark Mercury, and they put him in 4 markets during the summer. I think he did a 6-week trial, if I'm not mistaken, or was it a 3-week trial? They probably gave him half of the trial, right? And it was not working out. And then they even tried to sell it to networks. It was still not working out with Jerry O'Connell. So with the situation with Sherri Shepherd, she's being aligned with the show without having an audition, right? So you're taking over a woman's show that's been on there for almost, over a decade, and you're aligning yourself to a lady, and you're going to rebrand the name if she is not, able to come back next season. And so a lot of people, they're just not feeling it. They're mad. They're not really there. And I did post a story of Sherri Shepherd doing an IG Live with Flame Monroe, who is a trans comedian. And Sherri simply said that, she's trying to level up, and now she's figuring out who she wants in her life. Because when you're leveling up, there's going to be people that's in the back and it's going to try to, possibly tear you down and so on and so forth. But, me personally watching her on IG Live saying that, I didn't like that, because it's like, it's not like you basically got a show on your own. You got the show through auditioning through Wendy, and not really auditioning, but you're taking a show. And we all know that Wendy Williams' show is a mainstream show. And if you want a talk show, your own talk show, not something that's aligned with Wendy's talk show, you're going to have to guest host on Wendy. Like, Jerry O'Connell, he's on the talk now after failing with his own show. Nick Cannon, and, possibly, who knows now with the Sherri Shepherd stuff. I'm happy for Sherri, don't get me wrong, but she's not a Wendy Williams. I give her at least 3 seasons. I think maybe 3 seasons. I don't think, if Wendy does not come back, I don't see Sherri Shepherd having a show on her own for the amount of time Wendy Williams had it for. I just don't, just simply by like observing and being like a Simon Cowell, a judge of talk shows, I don't see her lasting. I really don't. It's not that I don't see her talented. It's not that I don't see her funny. It's just she's not really my cup of tea, like Wendy is. However, there is a market for her. There is a market for Sherri because, Ellen DeGeneres is leaving this season. Sherri Shepherd is a comedian. Sherri Shepherd, throws out the be kind, and she's kind to her guests. And Ellen DeGeneres was actually the one, say a lot of things. We could say a lot of things about Ellen, right? But she was actually the one that vouched for Sherri Shepherd to be on The View, right? So I can see her possibly lasting maybe 3 seasons, because now there's a niche there. Ellen is gone. And she's, there needs to be like a woman comedian, and so Sherri Shepherd is available, and a lot of people possibly feel like there could be a niche. However, like I said, I don't see her lasting. I don't see her lasting as far. I'm gonna give her 3 seasons at most. She can surprise me. I don't know. I said the same thing with Tamron Hall. Tamron Hall's been on for 3 seasons now, but I thought Tamron Hall wasn't gonna last, right? But then again, I think Tamron is also under the OWN network as well. I think at least her show is aired under that network. So she has a lot of support from the peoples like Oprah and Tyler Perry support her. And so maybe I could be wrong. I don't know. Maybe Sherri will last more than 3 seasons. Who knows? But we're going to see. We're going to see the test of time. So, I don't understand why Wendy Williams is banking with a bank that is notoriously anti this darker skin color. I don't know if you guys recall last year, I believe it was last year, when the CEO of Wells Fargo said that they struggle or they can't find a black talent pool to fulfill jobs at Wells Fargo, right? And here we are with a popular daytime African-American successful, highly accomplished woman named Wendy Williams, and she cannot even have full access to her account, right? Reports are saying that, she needed somebody to be aligned with her that's competent, because they're seeing that something is off with Wendy and something is wrong with Wendy. So basically at first they froze her accounts, and with Wendy hiring an attorney, they're now saying that they're going to still have control of Wendy Williams' assets, but they're going to have her, have access to payments of like bills and her mortgages and her employees and everything, simply because, since she got lawyered up and the lawyer said she has things that she do, pay her employees, pay her mortgages and pay everything and so on and so forth. Now, There was a woman that Wendy is friends with reports saying that she was friends with this financial advisor at Wells Fargo for several years. And Wendy Williams allegedly fired her, according to reports. And so they're saying that she is the one that basically supposedly outed Wendy, exposed Wendy, saying that she is not within the mind state. I do have a subscriber. I'm not going to reveal who, but I do have someone that I saw that used to work for Wells Fargo. And this person I saw basically said that when you are working for Wells Fargo, you know, in the financial division, your job is to basically go out with people, like go out with these high profile people or just people with a lot of money, like Wendy Williams, and act like you're their friend, simply because you can bring them in and let them align themselves with the bank that you're with, and you get some type of commission from that. And so this is exactly what this woman, what's her name, Lori Schiller, did, right? Allegedly, she pretended, allegedly, to be Wendy Williams' friends, so Wendy Williams can come to Wells Fargo and align herself with that bank. And so I heard that you get some type of commission, some type of, you know, extra stipend with the company if you do that. It's kind of like dealing with a damn coyote, okay? If you have a damn dog, right, and you see a coyote out in your backyard and the coyote don't want to play with your dog and try to lure your dog into the woods, that's because the coyote got a pack of other coyotes in the woods and they're gonna try to really, you know, jump the dog and have it for dinner. That's exactly what this woman did to Wendy, allegedly. When Wendy fired her, now she going to align herself, and I'm gonna call them coyotes of the Wells Fargo, and have them eat up her account. Now, something tells me that they did something wrong with Wendy's money, and they're not trying to let Wendy know what happened or what they did wrong. They don't want it out there, so they're trying their best to cover that up and simply just say that Wendy is off, something's wrong with her mentally. So we cannot, you know, unfreeze her assets, which I think is highly insane and really crazy. Y'all, Wendy's going through it. I do not want to hear from people saying that's what she gets. This is her karma. She talks about people. She got all this money from you know, bashing people, for outing celebrities, yada yada yada. Y'all do the same thing. Y'all talk smack off camera. The only difference is she's getting paid and she's doing it on camera. So leave the lady alone. Let her do what she want to do. And I don't trust Wells Fargo. I don't trust her husband. I do recall her husband posted on his Instagram page about a year ago saying, y'all gonna see, you know, this divorce was just, you know, part of the story. Y'all going to see what really Wendy is something is like. Y'all gonna see what's gonna happen, right, with Wendy, right? And the thing with DJ Booth, when he allegedly got fired from her show, he's like, you know, there's so much stuff that you guys don't even know. You know, you guys don't even know what's really going on. You know, there's a lot of things that aren't reported. And so do I think Wendy Williams is of sound mind? No, not 100%, not at all. I did tell y'all, I did interview somebody that's aligned with Wendy Williams. But when I contacted this person, I emailed this person simply because I wanted to contact them about their other job portfolio that they're doing outside of media. So I didn't, you know, when you email people, they like to know what you're going to ask them, and their publicist, even the publicist didn't get involved. But like when you email somebody, you want to interview somebody, bring somebody on your radio, TV show, podcast, whatever, they want to know, a lot of them, they're scared. They want to know what's going to be talked about, right? And sometimes in interviews, it can shift and things can go elsewhere. And I'm very good at that, doing that with interviews. So that's what happened. I went into a different direction, and I brought Wendy into the discussion because this person knows Wendy and knows other people in the industry, people that you watch all the time on TV. And after the interview was over, they contacted me, and then they were like, this is kind of why we hire publicists and everything, and so I kind of felt like this person didn't want me to publicly release the interview. So I was like, you know what? You're right. I simply emailed you asking you about this business that you're doing, but we went the Wendy route. I mean, as a media professional, this person could have just dodged the question, right? And simply just went back to what the interview was about, but they didn't, right? So I basically won in the interview. So I was like, I'm not going to release the interview. Don't worry about it. You have my word. I'm not going to release it. They're like, oh, you're a real one. And then they're like, oh, this is kind of the game. And then when they told me that, it brought me up to the Monique situation, because Monique said it should be about the money game, not the integrity game. No, it should be about the integrity game, not the money game. And this business is about the money, right? Before the integrity, which is unfortunate. So I was like, that's fine. I'm not going to release the interview, but Wendy had a moment on a show when she was with this person. They were doing, I don't want to be specific because I don't want to out this person, but they were doing something on the show, and Wendy Williams was clearly off. Like, she was so off. Like, it was so evident that she was off. And I brought that segment to this person. I was like, hey, like, what was going on there? And they just gave me a politically incorrect response, or like, you know what, I'm just there to do my job. I'm not there with the politics and trying to find out what's wrong with somebody. So, but something was off. So yes, is she off? Yes, of course she is. But do they have a right to freeze her assets just because they don't think she's in without? No, like, I think she is off, but not off enough to the point where you can't have a conversation with the woman for her to understand. I think she's competent enough to realize what's going on. But I do think that, she needs time, to kind of like regroup herself with the loss of her mother, with her brother doing what he did, and with dealing with the ex-husband and the mistress, aligning herself with the money. Now, there were reports saying that Wendy froze her assets in 2018. She froze the assets, and that was around the time she wanted to get a divorce. So like, she did something to her account, allegedly. To where, I guess, because since like, all right, she's like, all right, I'm about to get a divorce. My son graduated high school. He going to college in Miami. It's time for me to move on with my life. So something happened with what she did to her account in 2018, to where her husband can't meddle himself into the account, right? But now, it's just, the reaction of that story kind of like went against in her favor here in 2022 now. And Wells Fargo is using that against her. Like I said, I like Wendy. I'm praying for Wendy. I hope she's coming back. She did release in a statement per her attorneys. She did say she'll be back. She's okay. She said that a lot of reports in the media are basically like lies and they're not true. Of course, they talked about the Graves' disease and stuff like that. Do I believe the full statement? They say, no, I don't. It's not just the Graves' disease. It's definitely not. Don't believe it. It's more to it. But I still wish her the best, regardless or not if she's not 100% honest with us, because that's what you got to do. Like, she's she is the MVP in the game, and I like Wendy, and I'm always going to, stick up for her, and that nature. And I think everybody should. Y'all keep saying, that's what she get. That's what she get. She brought her karma. Well, you're being hypocritical if you're telling her that's what she get, because you're also wishing karma on somebody, right? Be who you want someone else to be, right? If you want someone else to be angelic and godly, but you're not being godly, that's hypocritical. Like, you go and simply tell her that she should be good, but also wish her bad. That's not right. Don't do that. All right. So we praying for Wendy. We hope she's okay. We wish her well. And that's that. All right. So moving on from that story. I want to talk about, like, because there's a lot of misconceptions about this man, and I know it's highly, what's the word? Like, they're saying he's highly controversial, and, there was a African-American UFC fighter. I think he's from the UFC. And someone from an audience asked this UFC fighter what he thought about Joe Rogan, about the N-word stuff and everything. He said, Joe Rogan is my friend, because Joe Rogan used to fight as well. He was like, I knew Joe Rogan for several years, and that's my people. F the media and what they're saying, right? This man apologized, right? This man apologized. He released a statement apologizing. Spotify even removed several of his, actually, like, 100 of his shows maybe now. They even put a disclaimer below his show when they talked about the poo-poo shot. That's what I call it. And so Indian RE ended up going on CNN and going on this interview tour, expressing her, so-called opportunistic offensiveness towards Joe Rogan, but really it's because she's a D-list celebrity singer and she just wanted to use the opportunity to try to sell some albums, because she's also on Spotify and she's like, Joe Rogan is getting $100 million with this contract for like several years, and we as artists are only getting paid like 0.0003% of what we're selling on Spotify. So it wasn't the fact that the N-word like whatever, like offended her. It was the fact that, she was using that opportunity to say, hey, like what he said was wrong, but I'm also going to use the opportunity to say, hey, like I'm an artist and, I'm not getting paid what he's getting paid on Spotify. And a lot of the money that's gone to Joe Rogan comes from money that all of these musicians do to sell their music, right? But however, once he apologized, she went on CNN, she went on with the Don Lemon show, she went on CNN, and she said, what he said and how he apologized, and simply saying the fact when he said, if you said the N-word and a lot of people are coming at you, you screwed up. Or, if not the N-word, he was like, if you made some statement that is deemed racial, you screwed up. And he apologized. So she was like, I forgive him. And she's even willing to work with Joe Rogan. Like she's even willing to work with him. And so they can try to help her get the pay that she don't get. I don't know who the woman is, but apparently she has 8 albums out. I heard her name before, but I don't know who she is. But, it was an opportunistic tour for her. And Joe Rogan also spoke about Don Lemon and spoke about this man that looked like Dr. Phil's brother, but he's actually 36 years old. This man is 36, y'all, by the way. And he's on Brian Stelter. He is 36 years old. Can you believe that? Like, he is 36, okay? Don't he look like Dr. Phil's brother? Like, on some real SHIT, he look like Dr. Phil's brother, right? And so Joe Rogan spoke out about CNN on his podcast yesterday, and he simply said there's a reason why, a lot of people watch his show and they don't trust mainstream media like the CNNs, because you guys aren't honest. You guys aren't telling the truth. You guys lied about what I took when I had the Rona, and a lot of people aren't trusting you for that reason. So that's why they're watching my podcast, because I always tell y'all this: it's mainstream media versus reality, and these programs like The View, like CNN, like all of these other networks, whatever that's out there. They are attesting to a certain target market, which is the Democratic Party, correct? In most cases, right? And so one of them, like Whoopi Goldberg, had to learn the hard way, right? And she got suspended. But, with Joe Rogan, you have a 3-hour podcast. You're having a conversation. We're in a pandemic. A lot of people are still at home watching TV, listening to podcasts at work. And you have actual people coming on his show that speaks like the average American outside of the media. This is what I mean when I say mainstream media versus reality, because the reality is he has realistic people on his show. He has people that you would have conversations with at the damn Publix, Walmart, whatever, where CNN, they just have a narrative that they want to spew out to people to be divisive. And his show is not divisive. Joe Rogan's show is not divisive. He tried to keep it balanced. He has people on like Dr. Sanjay Gupta, who is on CNN, who basically forced himself to be on his podcast, right? Because he represents CNN. Then you have other people like, I don't know, like a Dr. Malone or whatever, who really aren't feeling the poo-poo shot, right? So all I'm saying is, and all Joe Rogan is saying is, and basically all what I'm also saying is, I'm gonna say that again, is because have an open mind, don't align yourself with certain networks that just target a certain demographic, like corporate media targets themselves to a certain narrative. It's only one narrative. It's anti the other party, but we're the great party here, which is full of BS. And that's what Joe Rogan doesn't do. And this is why his podcast does so well. And it's scaring a lot of these mainstream people, right? It's scary. It really is. Now, if CNN was smart enough, if they were smart enough, they would actually try to align themselves with Joe Rogan and be an ally of his and bring him on their show. So maybe they can get the ratings that they want to get, right? So he apologized. Another thing I keep hearing about, Whoopi got suspended, but Joe Rogan is still working. Okay, first of all, Spotify is a private company. Second of all, this man came out with a video and apologized. Whoopi, on the other hand, had multiple chances to apologize, okay? But she fell flat on that. Let's just be honest. She made a statement when she made on The View. Then she had a chance to go to Stephen Colbert and apologize. She still had the same stance that she had on The View. She didn't apologize. She was like, she said, I'm not even gonna apologize, like, because I'm not really like she still was standing with her stance. And then more backlash came. Then she released the apology on Twitter. Then she went on The View and apologized. You already made a boo-boo. Like, you said what you said on The View. You had a chance to apologize, but you took the Stephen Colbert and still standing with your statement. You got more backlash. Then you went on Twitter and apologized. And then you went on The View the next day and apologized and had the guy from the Anti-Defamation League, Jonathan Greenblatt, to explain to you why the Holocaust, why that stuff happened back in the day. So there is a difference. You have a private company like Spotify. Then you have ABC, who's a corporate company who's owned by Walt Disney. ABC, Kim Godwin is not the president of the network. Kim Godwin is the president of ABC News. There's a huge difference, okay? Kim Godwin has bosses herself, okay? She has to answer to bosses from Walt Disney. Walt Disney owns ABC, okay? She, like Kim Godwin and those bosses, had to have a formal meeting because now advertisers are on the line, stakeholders are on the line. You offended your colleagues at ABC who are of the Jewish faith, right? And it's like you did a lot of damage. Joe Rogan got a podcast in his garage that has the Joe Rogan experience, not him, just saying, making $100 million, right? And it's a private company. Like he has more ways of without like getting reprimanded than working on a show like a corporate show like an ABC, correct? Right or wrong? Like had Joe Rogan said the N-word of what he said, although it's contextualized on TV and he had the backlash that he would probably got suspended, of course. But no, it's a private company. There's a huge difference, right? This is why he can have those different people on and different doctors on that are anti the poo-poo shot. They're not going to have that narrative on The View because it's corporate. They have a target market. They have a target market to attest to, and they're not going to invite doctors that are looking at this poo-poo Rona shot as something that is poison from a water moccasin snake. They're not going to do that. Joe Rogan, on their hands, is going to have that, right? So it's just it's not like every rule applies to the same person. This is ABC. This is CBS. Joe Rogan is on his other lane with a different medium on a damn podcast, okay? And that's with Spotify. So it's two different things. And another thing, what Whoopi said was right. You know, I thought Jewish was a religion. I don't give a damn what it is, a race or I don't care. I don't care what it is. The man that exterminated 7 million of those people saw them as inferior to them. I don't care what it was. That's what he did. He saw them as an inferior people. And isn't that what race is when you look at somebody like below you? Isn't that a hierarchy level? I look at you as below me because you are this, right? You belong to this tribe. Y'all also got to understand that this is why traveling is important. Here in the United States of America, there's a thing called white, black, Asian, Alaskan, whatever. Overseas, they don't do that. They don't have a thing called a census. There's a thing called tribes, right? Where I come from is called tribes, right? And it's not about, oh, this person is white, black. It's not like that, okay? And so that tribe, Adolf saw them as X, Y, and Z, and this is why he did what he did. And so, you know, that's the definition of, under the United States of America dictionary, that's racism, right? And so she was wrong. Do I think she should have got suspended? No. Do I think Whoopi should have got suspended? Of course not. No. But, I mean, you know, that's what Kim Godwin and her bosses thought that should happen. And, you know, what they did was actually beneficial to Whoopi because a lot of people aren't talking about it no more. I mean, I still get comments about it, but people aren't talking about it no more. So stop being in my comments talking about, oh, you know, I thought they were religion, they weren't a race. It doesn't matter what they were. It's the fact that they were exterminated. Like, that's not the point. It's the fact that they were exterminated. People think that only the darks, I got to be careful with my words on here, but only BLACK people, BLM people, they only think they were the only ones that were scrutinized. No, there's other people that were scrutinized, you know, and it's like, just because it's not your perception of what race is, that doesn't mean that wasn't the reason, right? So this is why I tell people that they should travel outside of the United States of America and stop trying to be biased because that person looks like them. Stop being biased towards Whoopi because she looks like you, right? It's, you know, be factual. And that's what we need. A lot of people are factual, right? And she made a mistake. You know, she made an ignorant comment on Stephen Colbert and said, I look as a BLK person, I look at race as something that I can see. Well, that's an ignorant statement because now you're just being, that statement is so closed net and so unfactual, right? And, you know, it was time for her to be reprimanded because she spent years on the show, on The View. This is not the first situation. She had several occasions, you know, it's with the Holocaust, and then it was about being followed in the store as being ignorant, not racist, defending Mel Gibson about him saying the N-word, whatever, saying the guy Roman Polanski who R-A-P-E-D, a 13-year-old, oh, it wasn't rape. So she said a whole bunch of like problematic things on the show, and it was time for God to come down and say, hey, you forgot where you came from. You forgot you came from poverty. Since you got millions of dollars, I'm gonna sit your ass down and suspend your ass for 2 weeks. And that's what God did, and that's what happened, right? So when she come back, we're gonna hear what she's gonna say. But I don't care if you don't see it as the race. That's not the issue at hand. You know, that's not the issue, right? It doesn't matter what you see it as. It doesn't matter what you see it as. It's what he saw it as. It's what the dictator saw it as. It's the reason why he did it, right? And that's what the notion is, you know. And I'm tired of people commenting on my page. People and the people that do it are normally the BLACK, right? I'm tired of y'all commenting on my page just because you see it as different than someone else, right? And so just open your mind, open a book, you know. I'm tired of the Sherry Shepherds commenting on my page, the Earth is Flat people commenting on my page saying, well, I thought Jew was a religion. I thought Jewish was a religion. You know, I'm just tired of that, you know. Anyways, moving on that story. I'm moving on. All right, so I want to talk about this man, Jeff Zucker, this man right here. So can somebody in the comments explain to me, and I was talking to this lady at Walmart about it. I was like, this man was a whole president at NBC. He got fired. So what would make a network called CNN hire a man as president when you got fired at a previous network? Doesn't make sense. And this person was, of course, African-American, and they said, well, if it was you or I, then you wouldn't get a second chance. And I was like, you know what? I actually agree with that. Of course, we wouldn't get a second chance. If you got fired from a different network and you go to another network and you get the same damn position, like, that's dangerous. Like, that's dangerous, y'all. You know why that's dangerous? Because this is not like you going from Burger King to McDonald's, okay? To me, this is equivalent to the police department or to the medical industry, right? This is a company, this is media, and your job is to make sure you have talents, you have journalists, actual journalists, telling people nationally, globally about stories, right? So to me, like, whoever hired this man, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the owner of CNN, Jason Kilar, I'm sure he had an interview with him, like, why would you hire somebody that got fired from a previous network and bring them onto a different network and give them the same position? That doesn't make any sense. To me, that's like, where they do that at? That's crazy, you know, because it's like, it's you're telling stories to people that actually watch you, right? And it's like your viewers, you guys are called cable news network, right? It's supposed to be actual news. So you're bringing somebody in that was problematic, allegedly, at a previous network. You're making him president at this network, and his job is to make sure the stories that he has on air is full of facts, aren't inaccurate, aren't biased. To me, I mean, that's like bringing in a doctor that's an OGBYN that got arrested on allegations of penetration towards women. He got off, and then another doctor, another hospital want to hire him. To me, that's equivalent to that, right? You see what I mean? It's equivalent. It's like you did bad at a network, allegedly, and then now you're going to CNN and you did bad at that network, allegedly. Like, that does not make sense. It's like, I have a trouble time trying to comprehend that because that don't make sense. That's like highly unethical. To me, that's like really unethical to bring somebody on a different damn network when they did bad at a network before. Like that just, I can't really fathom that in my head. And this is why people are trusting Joe Rogan over that network, because I don't see that coming back from that situation. Now, for those of you that didn't see my previous video, I'm going to explain the story that I explained last time, because there's a lot of drama at CNN, and a lot of the people at CNN, they're pissed off, they're confused, they're shocked. Some of them, they're like, that's good his behind got fired because he was ruining CNN. This man was married, right? He got married in 1996 at Pierre Hotel, right? To his ex-wife now, his ex-wife, correct? And he was working at NBC as a executive producer, and he worked his way up as the CEO of NBC Universal before he got fired, right? This woman here, dog, like this is why I tell people that it don't matter how they look. You know how when somebody cheat, it don't like. Sometimes it's not about the look. Sometimes it's about, you're maybe spending too much time with them, and you just fall for them that way. Sometimes it's not about the look. Look at Arnold Schwarzenegger with the woman he got with, right? Okay, so she was working with him at NBC, right? She was working with him at NBC before she went to CNN, right? And he was still married, and she was married, right? So at that time, when Jeff Zucker was the the executive producer at NBC, his wife was the supervisor at SNL, right? And so he was married about 20 years with his wife. And according to Page Six, she said the reason why they divorced is because Jeff Zucker was too invested in the news. I'm going to read y'all comments, but let me explain what I'm about to explain. She was like, he was too invested in the news. He wanted to be the best of the best, which he wasn't, clearly. And she used to work, but also want to spend half her time, like, outside socializing. People, they work hard and play harder, which I can understand. You don't want to be just invested with your work, and then you go on vacation and you still on your phone, looking at the news, looking at your workers, making sure they following, the stories and everything. That was what he liked to do. And so she didn't like that. But you know how when a lot of these people release these PR statements, they don't tell you the truth. They just tell you like a minuscule of the truth. Allegedly, him and her, she was married. So allegedly, him and her had an affair, like literally half of the marriage. She was working with him at NBC, right? So when he left NBC, or when he got fired, you know how they say left. When you're in the media, they give you an opportunity to publicly say, I'm leaving, I'm resigning, like they did at CNN. He got fired. He didn't fucking resign. They can call our CNN and tell him, you better resign. So they gave him the opportunity, right? Okay, so when Jeff Zucker left NBC in 2014, 2015, he went to CNN, which I don't understand. I just don't get it. I'm just going to say white privilege, because that's the only reason I can think of. Like me and that lady was talking about it in Walmart. He went to CNN, right? Okay. However, while he was at NBC, he brought this woman in to work in the marketing department, a huge PR department at NBC, when the position was already filled, right? Katie Couric talked about that in her book, Going There. Katie Couric basically said that while Katie Couric was anchoring the Today Show, Jeff Zucker was her boss, and he brought Alison Golos, her, to NBC to work for Jeff Zucker when there was no position for her, right? They just gave her a job, right? Just because, he was dicking her down, allegedly, right? He was dicking her down. Let's be honest here, right? Okay. So, mind you, Katie Couric was friends. Katie Couric was with Jeff Zucker, but she was really close to Jeff Zucker's ex-wife, right? And this is how Katie Couric got that damn talk show on Disney, right? Remember how she had that show called Katie, and it only lasts like 3-4 seasons? Jeff Zucker helped her get that show. So, now she didn't sleep with the man, but I mean, you're making friends with your boss. So, I mean, that's kind of like, but Katie Couric, Katie Couric is an accomplished journalist, so I don't want to sit here and say, well, the reason why she got that talk show was because, you know, she was fraternizing with the boss or was close friends with his wife, which she was close friends with the wife and Jeff Zucker. But I mean, that's part of the reason why she got the talk show, you know, not only because she's an accomplished woman, because like, you know, she was cool with the boss. Like anytime you cool with the boss, I mean, you can get opportunities, right? It's favoritism, right? It happens all the time in the workplace. So, to me, that's a little bit different than, you know, being on the casting couch and getting a job on the casting couch, you know. So, I mean, it's to me, it's two different things. And so that's how Katie Couric got a job. So once she outed him, because the blog's been talking, like Soledad O'Brien from CNN said that it was an open secret in the media division that Jeff Zucker and that chick, Allison Golas, was, you know, dicking it down, right? All right. So he leaves NBC, he gets hired as the president of CNN in 2014. He brings this chick again. He brings her to CNN, right? She like a roach. She was at CNN. She kind of looked like a roach, ain't gonna lie. She was at CNN, and then, I mean, she was at NBC, now she at CNN, and this woman don't got an ordinary job. She ain't the janitor, she ain't the associate producer. She's not even the executive producer, which is a big job at a media station. This woman is the marketing head at CNN. She's the marketing head, okay? This is what happens when you're on the casting couch, okay? Allegedly, you know. So, let me tell you how Chris Cuomo comes in, right? Let me tell you how Chris Cuomo comes in. Okay, so Chris Cuomo had two or three things that came out about him in the media, okay? One about was with his brother. Another thing was about with him going on air, and y'all got me on this. Y'all really bashed me when I used to talk about Chris Cuomo, but y'all didn't see what I see. So this is what happens because I'm experienced. I know how the media works. Look, and y'all bashed me, right? Chris Cuomo had the Rona. Y'all remember he had the Rona. He was in his basement being interviewed by CNN. The next day or so, a man on a bike caught the man literally a mile from his original home. He was building another house, allegedly, and told Chris, wait, you was just on CNN saying you had COVID and you in the basement, like quarantining, but yet you and your family and your wife out here building another house and you don't have a mask on? And so Cuomo, like his other douche head brother does, like he basically like threatened man saying, oh, if I see you again, you don't know who I am. I'm a lawyer, yada, 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 yada. Next thing you know, that man went on Fox News to talk about it. All right, so that's one situation. Chris Cuomo also allegedly assaulted his former boss, Miss Ross, right? We heard about that, and there's emails. Thirdly, okay, I'm gonna tell you where this woman comes in. This woman here used to work for Chris Cuomo's brother before she got a job at CNN, right? And so a lot of staffers at CNN thinks this is the reason why Chris Cuomo did not get fired on the spot. Duh. That's the exact reason why Chris Cuomo did not get fired on the spot. So look at here. You are Chris Cuomo. Your boss is dicking down his subordinate that was linked to professionally with Chris Cuomo's brother. So you're telling me you don't think that's the reason why Chris Cuomo didn't get fired earlier on? You're telling me that's not the reason? Like, come on now. Because at that time when that happened, Chris Cuomo told Jeff Zucker, you have my word. I'm just doing X, Y, and Z for my brother. I'm just having his back. He's my brother. And Jeff Zucker was like, are you sure? At that time, when the stories came out about Chris Cuomo helping out his brother, Jeff Zucker's boss was like, hey, what is your relationship with this woman? What's your relationship with her? There's been rumors going out for years. She used to work for Chris Cuomo's brother, and I don't need more problems here because it's come out in the media, right? And we have a man named Chris Cuomo who is getting all this money, who's the star of CNN, and you're aligned yourself, and I don't know what the relationship is, but you're aligned yourself with this woman who used to work for his brother, the governor of New York, right? So now you have a huge conflict of interest. So at that time, when the boss allegedly told Jeff Zucker, what is your title with this woman, Allison Golas? What is your title? Like you guys are seemingly working too closely together. This man would not disclose the relationship. He did not disclose the relationship, right? This was like around 2020, 2021. He would not disclose the relationship. So now, when Chris Cuomo got fired, and y'all can watch the case on YouTube because he's testifying. It's like 6 hours, almost 6 hours on YouTube of him being in court testifying because I think he's suing the network, right? So now, when it all came out to the open end, he admitted that he has a relationship with this woman since 2020, which is a lie. It was way past 2020. It was probably since 2010. It was like he was married for 20 years. So this was like half of his marriage, allegedly, right? And he didn't even mention her name. He's still protecting his woman. In his statement, I did a story. I told y'all what he said. He did not mention this woman in the statement, y'all. He didn't mention her at all. Like, he did not mention her at all, right? So then this woman came out with a statement saying, yes, I had, me and Jeff Zucker known each other for 20 years professionally. And our relationship took a different level in 2020, from COVID and everything, whatever. I think at CNN, CNN got to fire her. You got to fire her because now a lot of these TV media businesses, they rely on advertisers to get them checks, right? That's how these hosts get paid. A lot of their salary come from the advertisers that advertise on that network. And this woman is responsible for that job, right? And so with that story out, she can't be calling Colgate. Hey, Colgate, I used to get digged down by the CNN ex-president. We want you on our show as a brand, in the mid 6 p.m. time slot after Don Lemon goes on a break. Colgate not going to want to do business with her after this story came out. You got to go. She got to go. Allison Golos, you got to go. She said she's staying, but ain't no way she's staying. She's not staying on CNN. Yeah. You see why that network is losing its credibility that it already doesn't have? It really, it's so crazy. It's insane. It's crazy that this woman actually thinks she has look. At this point in time, I would not be surprised if CNN doesn't fire her, but Jason Kilar, the owner of CNN, if he is smart enough, he has basic knowledge, he would fire her on the spot because she got to go. You got to go. I don't care what your title is at a job. You don't SHIT where you eat. You don't. I don't care what your title is. You don't do it because at the end of the day, it's going to come with your job. When it hits the fan, and I want to curse so bad, when things hit the fan, it's gonna come with your job, right? You don't fraternize at work. You don't make friends at work, right? And so he lost his job looking like a fool. He's divorced from his wife. His kids are watching this on the blogs and probably being picked on in school, right? And she still got her job. She still has her job, right? Now who's the loser now, right? So this is the problem. You don't fraternize at work. You just don't do that, and that's just the realm of it. Is if it's anything you want to get out of this live is you don't fraternize at work. It just doesn't make sense. You shouldn't do it at all. And that's that. And so I would not be surprised. If CNN does not let her go. But I heard, even according to Megyn Kelly said she's about to leave. Like, Megyn Kelly has a show with Sirius XM that airs on the radio, and she also has it on YouTube. And so Megyn Kelly, I think, has information because Megyn Kelly lives around that area. And so, she probably got some inside information about what's going to happen in the future. But if CNN was smart, she would bounce. Like, Odette would bounce her, right? All right. So let's talk about give me read y'all comments because I know y'all probably saying he's ignoring me because I just want to get out what I need to get out. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna read y'all comment. I'm doing okay. Thanks, Trinity. I think Kevin's behind this mess. That's what some people are saying. Sophie says, I didn't start watching this at the beginning. It already started. Why doesn't Wells Fargo let Wendy Williams fax her? Honey, okay, you got to start from the beginning. I'm not answering that on here. Hold on. Let me see. Where did the chat go? Why I can't see the chat? All right, comments. All right. I don't care if you're a whoopee. It's communism to confiscate your money. I don't know what she's talking about. She doesn't have the Wendy audience, though. She has been away from the View for so long that she never, okay, they're telling lies still. Unless there was Fargo. Yeah, Indiana RE, nobody know who that woman is. At least not now. Times change. Let me see. I'm going to read y'all comments. Let's see. See, I can only attest to what's on CNN because that's the network that was on my house, Keshawn. I can't attest to Fox News because I don't Fox News like that. But I'm just saying a lot of people get their news from there, and I'm just glad that their ratings are down. And that's that. Another thing about Jeff Zucker. This man this is why I think he got axed from NBC, because this man used to be friends with Donald Trump. Him and Trump used to have a great relationship. The Celebrity Apprentice was airing at NBC, right? And the way this man would get ratings all the time at NBC is he would always air the Celebrity Apprentice. The same thing when he was at CNN. When Trump was president for the 4 years, he would always air Trump on CNN. And this is why CNN did so great the last 4 years, because Trump was the one and the reason why CNN did so great. This is facts. Him and Trump had a great relationship. He actually was part of the Celebrity Apprentice. He won a show like American Idol, like Survivor. And so him and Trump came up with Celebrity Apprentice, allegedly. And so Trump and him were friends. And so he always played the Celebrity Apprentice on NBC when he was the CEO of NBC. And so when he got at CNN ratings were really high. They were really high. The view ratings were really high as well, right? And so this is why CNN did so great in ratings, because of Trump, right? Because they often always play what Trump said, controversial stuff he always said. And they were good friends. Even at one point in time in like 2005, Trump was said, I'm surprised that Jeff Zucker didn't play me like this week or this month, because this man always airs my material on the network. So yeah, he was like, they were good friends. Now they had a huge falling out. All right. All right. I want to talk about supposedly she has a book coming out. She already booked. I don't think she wrote it. You know, a lot of these celebrities, they have ghostwriters. And so, but in the middle of writing her book, or at least through the process of writing her book, she was getting advice from her friends and her family. And they were telling her, you can't say this, you can't say that, don't say this, don't say that about them. And them meaning the woman of the talk, right? And so she read the book when it finished, and they did not like, well, she did not like what was in the book because it was not her. It was very Disney Channel like it was very polished. It was very like Jill Biden allegedly cheating on Joe Biden, but she still didn't. Well, no, Jill Biden cheating on her first man to get with Joe Biden, but that's been denied for all these years now. I'm just kind of like putting out an analogy. Basically, it wasn't truthful, right? It wasn't raw. It wasn't real. It wasn't her. So she said, I'm going to rewrite this book and tell everything. She was on Megyn Kelly's Sirius XM show, and she said more things about the talk, and CBS is going to come out. Now, part of that is going to be in her book, and I might buy her book, or at least try to see the chapter where she talks about the talk, right? I already talked about this in my last video, but her firing from that show was not about RACE. It was not about that. It was not about that, right? However, they made it like that, just like they made it when Megyn Kelly got fired from NBC, right? So when she made that comment about BLM face, right? They used that as a PR move to get rid of her, but really they got rid of her because she did not make the return on investment with the company, with NBC, because they paid her like $65 million for like 3 years, right? And her ratings are low. Her ratings were literally lower than Al Roker's and Tamron Hall. And NBC got rid of them. Well, they got rid of Tamron Hall, but they got rid of the show, Al Roker and Tamron Hall. Al Roker went back starting on the weather. Tamron Hall got fired from NBC. She was there for like, 20-something years. And like literally she she went through some stuff. Like I don't know, she went through depression, whatever, because she felt betrayed that she'd been at this network for so long. And yet they're going to have this woman come to my show, take over my show on a different format and pay her $60-something million for 3 years. And now they're going to use the excuse of BLK face to fire her, but that's not the reason. See, a lot of these media companies, they like to use the RACE card to get rid of people, right? They did it with Megyn Kelly. They did it with Sharon Osbourne, right? So I'm expecting her book to come out, and I want her book to come out. She also has a TV show that's coming out. Based on what she said, it sounds like to me is on it's like a talk show format. It doesn't sound like America's Got Talent type of show. It doesn't sound like a game show or reality show. It sounds like a talk show. I'm hoping it's like I don't know. I mean, I might give it a try and watch it because I like people that are outspoken, and she's an outspoken woman. And so her firing was never about the RACE word. It was about CBS planning the executives at CBS planning a segment on that show with ratings, right? That's what that was their main objective, is to have ratings. That's what it was, to have ratings. It was never for it to be as big as it got, right? And so when it did get as big as it got, they used her as their reason out, right? So it's like, look, when I rewatched that clip on the talk of Cheryl Underwood explaining to her what Piers Morgan said, because Sharon was like, educate me, educate me, educate me, tell me how's Piers racist, and Cheryl was like, it's not what he said that was racist, it was the implication under it. And to me, that's like implication under it. So you're telling me how you feel, you're not giving me facts, right? All this woman did was tweet on Twitter saying, I'm here for my friend. I defend my friend Piers Morgan, right? That's all she said. So that's all she said. But y'all got to remember that interview that CBS did, that Piers Morgan was talking about, the interview with Oprah and the interview with Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, that was under the CBS network. So you have a Sharon Osbourne defending her friend who is jabbing at an interview that's under the network that she works for. So now you're biting the hand that feeds you, right? So she bit the hand that fed her, right? And that was CBS. But CBS was in charge of that interview, right? And so when she did what she did, they planned it, to get back at her and see what they can do to get rid of her, or see if they can get the ratings that they can get. And since it went left, they brought up the RACE, as a reason why to get rid of her. It was never about race. It was just a strategy that went unplanned that CBS tried to do. And then when they failed, they brought the RACE word to it. So now they got two dudes on that show. But I just want to say this. I don't watch Fox News. I don't know what's on Fox News. I'm not going to lie. Some things that I see out of Tucker Carlson's mouth on Twitter, whatever. Let's say if he talked about Kamala Harris and he brings up Willie Brown, I'm like, well, that's him being right. She was a side chick to get into politics. She did date a man named, well, she was a side chick to a married man when she was 29, he was 60, and she got into politics by being a side chick. That's facts. I mean, he didn't say it like that. He just said, Willie Brown, he was like, Willie Brown is invited on his show. This is a man, Kamala. That's facts. I mean, I don't watch Fox News like that. So I don't like the other day I watched The Five. They were talking about Stacey Abrams, and what they said was correct. What they said was correct about her. Like, she lied. Stacey Abrams lied. You are in a picture with a lot of kids with masks on. You don't have a mask on. Then you're going to blame it on, then you're going to use Black History Month to justify you being caught. Then you're going to say when you entered the building, you had a mask on, but yet there's pictures out there that shows you don't have a mask on, right? So it's like you lied, and that's the whole thing about it. Fox News did a coverage on that. The View even did a coverage on that, and I was surprised how objective Sunny was, and how The View was. They said that she was wrong to even use Black History Month. So I'm like, I don't know what Fox News does. I don't watch them like that, so I can only speak on a cable news network that I thought growing up was within my best interest. Well, I already knew that wasn't within my best interest because of where I come from. They often was biased with that. But in terms of like stuff that's happening here in America, like, you're thinking that, okay, what they're reporting is within their best interest of us, but it's not. So when people say, well, what about Fox News? I'm like, well, I don't watch it. I don't watch it. I can't comment on it because I don't watch their show. I don't. But a lot of things they say, I'm sure I agree with the poo-poo shot. Besides, they have to get it for policy reasons. Or besides, with Kamala Harris dating Willie Brown, well, that's how she got into business. He had multiple side chicks. She was one of them. He was married. She knew that allegedly, and she was still getting dick and dad by him. That's what she got into business, right? So yeah, But I get comments that saying, "What about Fox News?" I don't know Fox News. I don't watch it. It was not fair to put someone who is not as informed from an empirical standpoint to thoroughly explain to Sharon why those comments were in fact. I don't understand what you're saying. Cheryl Underwood was explaining to Sharon why. Cheryl Underwood is a black woman, so she was explaining to Sharon on TV when it happened why it was racist, but it wasn't something. He didn't say anything racist. She just said it's the implication, right? So it's like you're implying based on him saying he doesn't believe Meghan Markle based on what she is saying, because Piers Morgan respects, his like we have a president that we're supposed to respect. So Piers Morgan respects the royalty that they have overseas, a different government, the monarchy that they have over there, right? So it's like, and so by him bashing Meghan Markle because she's, saying not so nice things or not so monarchy, princess, duchess of success things about them, it's like, he's just saying that she's a liar. He doesn't believe her, right? About her experience there and stuff, right? But that's not being racist. It's not, and so, unfortunately she lost her job and that's that. And I don't know what else to say because obviously it was not about race. And I told y'all the person who exposed the story and helped CBS make it about race is Yashar Ali, who basically allegedly faked that he was about to commit suicide on Twitter because the LA Times basically exposed him with his story. They did a long profile about him on LA Times, right? About a weird guy named Yashar Ali who's never met the people on Twitter like Jake Tapper, Joy Reid, whatever. But somehow he accumulated all of these followers, right? And it's like he has a face on Twitter with a hoodie on, covering his face, right? But he doesn't look like that. He looks like a fat-faced man with no hair, right? I showed y'all the picture before, right? Like y'all know how he looks, right? So for about a year now, after he got exposed, he had released a statement or nothing about it on Twitter. He also helped Sunny Hostin expose Barbara Fredita, who called her low rent. And she even talked about it in her book, but he did not want to be a part of the story. So he told Sunny Hostin, please do not put me in your book, right? Because, when you're a journalist, you don't want to be the story. Your job is to report the story, right? Just so I'm petty. Y'all know I'm petty, right? So I'm gonna show y'all the story. I'm gonna show y'all his picture. Hold on, okay. Like, you have no credibility, right? You have no credibility at all. Okay, so yeah, but anyways, if anybody has any comments, it was a slap in the face of Tamron Hall. Yes, Tamron Hall literally was loyal to that, network. And I think after she got fired, like she took like 2-3 years off in like questioning her life, what she should do, and so on and so forth. But like, based on where she is now, I think it was meant to happen. It's like God had other ways for her to do her job. And so she's winning on the show. I mean, I know Tamron Hall had a lot of producers that quit. She had Bill Getty. Bill Getty is the producer who helped Barbara Walters create The View. He was hired at Tamron Hall to help her as a producer to produce the show. And Candy Carter, who also was the big time producer, the Oprah show, right? also worked with Tamron Hall, but they both left Tamron Hall because allegedly Tamron Hall just didn't get along with them. Or it's like when you have a talk show and you are the talent, you want things to go your way, because it's like you have these people behind the scenes telling you what stories should be told and how pictures should look, how their transitions should go, what advertisers you want on your where you want your advertisers to be placed in your story and stuff. And so it's like when your creativity as a talk show host does not align with, even people who have credibility, like huge credibility, like Bill Getty or like Candy Carter from Oprah, right? And it's like, you're going to get rid of those people, right? And so like she got rid of like a lot of executive producers, and these are big time producers. This is the guy who helped discover The View, right? With Bob Walters. And this is a woman, a Black woman, who helped Oprah, and who also left the talk show industry, but saw Tamron Hall as someone that could be like someone like Oprah. So she was like, you know what, I'm going to get back into producing and help her. But like Tamron was not feeling it, right? The word on the street is, no, the picture with the hoodie is him on Twitter, and it's probably filtered. Yeah, but he don't look like that in real life. That's what I'm saying. And for somehow he was able to make all of these contacts just by being online, just by being on Twitter, not meeting nobody, just by being online. He used to work for the Huffington Post. Like he's a freelance journalist, great writer, like great journalist, but still it's like, he's a little creepy, a little one of them, like, fat dudes in the basement going on dating apps, hollering at probably 18-year-old boys, allegedly, kind of one of them kind of dudes, But he got exposed by LA Times. If you want to read it, they did a whole profile about him. What's her name? Kathy Griffin actually contacted him because she needed a journalist to write a good piece about her after she got canceled for the Trump head. And Kathy Griffin ended up befriending, and he lived in her house allegedly. And so Kathy Griffin basically said the person that she spoke with online was not the same person she met in her house. And so she allegedly kicked them out. Like, I'm telling you, you got to read the whole story. Like, so this reading that story and also realizing the history of that show, the talk, and what happened with Sharon just made me question the story. Y'all gotta understand that Les Moonves, the president of ABC, the man that allegedly wanted to ruin Janet Jackson, he was the head of CBS for many years. And the woman on the left is his wife, who decided to do a respect people that change their face, because there was a thing in the entertainment industry where there was no Asian representation. And so she talked about this on the talk. She allegedly lost like half of her family because they didn't agree with her going against her Chinese culture by doing what she did so she could look white so she can get hired. This is why I respect Jeannie Mai, because Jeannie Mai talked about this on The View. Like her older relative told her that like, you got to get the eyelid job, because the eyelid job is very popular in Asia. And that's what they do if you want to be in TV. And Jeannie Mai was like, no, like, I don't care if there's no one that doesn't look like me on TV. I'm still going to be on TV, and I'm not going to change the way I look or my face just so I can be on TV. Jeannie Mai from The Real. But this woman, I mean, she looked good, right? I mean, the after part is good, right? But I mean, I would not sell my soul. That's kind of like you're selling your soul, right? You're changing your look to sell your soul. That's what she did. She changed her look. And you got to understand, like, she started off as a reporter. And back in the day, like, news directors, what they do is you send your resume, then you send a resume tape that shows how you look on camera, how you conduct yourself when you talk on a story, if you can ad lib, if you can report on a story, if you can talk for 20 to 30 seconds showing your face without looking at your notes, stuff like that. And so back in the day, they were not hiring African-American women with the braids. They were not hiring Asian women with the closed up eyes. They were not doing that. Let's just be honest. They weren't doing that back then. It was hard for people of color to get jobs in news. Nowadays, it's a little bit more easier. I see people on my local TV that have braids, and they talk about that. I see more Black people on TV. You don't typically see the blonde. And, I see an Asian. There's actually an Asian woman here locally that I know. She's a news anchor here, and she's Asian. She didn't fix her eyes, not that I know of, and she's on TV. So it's different. Back then, it was a little hard. Did a good job. But, however, I'm not defending this woman because she did get jobs when she looked like the woman on the left. Because there's pictures out there with her with a microphone reporting at a news agency, right? So it's not like she didn't get hired. It probably was just a little bit harder for her to get a job, right? So that's the whole situation on that, on that show. She was on a Big Brother. That was with the same network, right? And The Talk. But she stayed at Big Brother, but she quit The Talk. But this is also the same woman who chastised Camille Cosby, who stayed with Bill Cosby, right? But yet your husband is allegedly doing the same thing or did the same thing, but you staying with your husband? Come on now. Make that make sense. And y'all also got to realize this man tried to ruin Janet Jackson's career because perform at the Grammys, right? So Justin Timberlake literally like begged him and cried his eyes out, right? All Janet Jackson did said was she was sorry. So he felt like Justin Timberlake's apology was enough. So he was able to perform a week after the incident with the whole nipple stuff, right? And he also won Grammys, right? But yet he tried to ruin her career. Like he made sure her album in 2004 that came out, it didn't do well in sales. He also made sure like radio stations didn't, because at that time MTV and CBS and Viacom, like they were all linked together. So he even made sure she was not played on TRL, which was like before MTV came MTV. So like he was really the head of all of that. And so he made sure that she did not like get any brand awareness towards her music, and her career suffered ever since then. So like, yeah, there's a lot going on at the show, and so that's what I'm saying. There's more to the story. It's more than just to Sharon Osbourne and everything. Like, it's just like, this is why I tell y'all it's mainstream versus reality. And the reality is mainstream is not reality a lot of times. So with that being said, y'all, let me see if anybody said anything with the comments. Connie Chung was awesome. Yeah, she's awesome. Didn't she go from talk show? Is that a filter pic or from his younger years? No, and he's still using the same picture. And if you look him up, like he did a story, he worked with the Huffington Post. There's a different picture, but he is hiding his face. But you can still see like patches in his head, like he's hiding half of his face. So he's insecure. He's basically insecure. Don't watch CNN mainly for the credibility. Let's see. I pray for you, man. I've been there. Are you praying for Wendy? Yes. I know many of us I learned about it in school, but I don't recall, Kashawn, in school I don't recall them saying race was the reason why, which I don't care what was the reason why. It's the fact what he did is what he did. But apparently it was the reason why he did it. But you also got to understand that even before this whole CRT stuff and taking books out of school, like my school did not teach full history, or I was always boarding classes. All they did was read from the PowerPoint. And it's like, even in college, I feel like even in college when I took a history class, they really they don't go in depth, right? They don't teach you what Blacks were doing before they became slaves, right? And so, I have a problem with that. So I feel till this day, like even with this whole stuff, take this book out, take that book out. Public schools really never taught it accurately with anything. Let's see what y'all saying. Quote unquote blackballed. Yeah, he didn't. His career flourished. He didn't lose his career because he cried. He literally cried, and I think he was on his knees crying. And all Janet Jackson said was, "I'm sorry." And so, like, Mr. Les Moonves felt that Janet Jackson's apology compared to Timberlake's apology was like totally different. He's like, "Well, she's not being more apologetic," because he got fined by the FCC. I think the FCC fined him $500,000 for that little like 19th. Yashar Ali did a story on it. He wrote it as a 19th millisecond of a second on TV. It was like really like you can barely. I mean, it's obviously you saw it, but it was like quick, right? It wasn't even 2 seconds. But he still got fined like $500,000. I think it was $500,000 by the FCC, and so that's a lot of money. And so like. And that's happened, right? So yeah, his career flourished. Like I said, he won 2 Grammy Awards. Literally a week after that happened, like he was banned from that show. But when he cried and everything, which I'll say white tears, he cried. So he cried, and so Les Moonves said, "Okay." But I heard Les Moonves wasn't all that bad all the time, because I heard Lonnie Love had a contract, I believe, through CBS. And she needed to get out of it. And so Les Moonves helped her get out of it, I believe, to be on The Real or some other show, some other project that she needed to get done. Because a lot of these shows, it's like you can't appear on another show if you're contractually obligated to another job. And so Lonnie Love needed help. I think it was through CBS. And so Les Moonves opted her out from a contract. And she ended up doing the job, whatever job she wanted to do. I don't know what. So he wasn't all that of a bad guy, but I feel like what he did to Janet Jackson was messed up. And that's that. But anyways, yeah, I really didn't feel like doing a video today. I was like, let me just come on and like rehash everything that I said and do a show that way. But he made several millions. Yeah, he flourished. His career flourished. Exactly. That's what I said. His career did not lose his career at all. He flourished with his career. He flourished, so he did well despite what happened. And she did well too, but I think she could have done better, had he not went after her, because even after like several years of him trying to blackball her, she had a book that came out, I believe in like 2012 through Simon and Schuster. And at that time, Simon and Schuster was linked with CBS, and he was pissed off. Les Moonves was mad. Like, how the hell did she get a book deal through them? Girl linked through me. He was like pissed off, But, all right, y'all. Well, anyways, I'm about to get off here. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Hi, Donna. Hello, Kashawn. Get off. Thank you so much for watching. Deuces.